Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a special council meeting for the 28th of May 2026 here at the Kalgoorlie Town Hall. On behalf of council, I'd like to show our respect and acknowledge all of the traditional custodians on the land on which we meet and show our respect to elders past and present. I open up tonight's special council meeting at 6 p.m. and as there are no members in the gallery, I won't read the disclaimer for which, but I will read the following disclaimer, and that is that the recommendations contained in this agenda are officers' recommendations only and should not be acted upon until council has resolved to adopt those recommendations. The resolutions of council should be confirmed by perusing the minutes of which the council meeting these recommendations were considered. Members of the public should also note that they act at their own risk if they enact any resolution prior to receiving official written notification of council's decision. In attendance tonight we have Deputy Mayor Winner. Good evening to you. Councillor Bodica, hello to you. Councillor O'Donnell is with us. Greetings. Hello, Councillor Viskovich. Good evening, Councillor House. Good evening, Councillor Walker-Dunstan. Joining us around the table in support, we have our Acting Chief Executive Officer is Mel Osborne. Mel, thank you for joining us. Mia Hicks is our Director of Advocacy and Strategy. Adam Streeline is our Director of City and Community. Our Director of Corporate and Commercial is Cass Yeager, and our Director of Engineering is Louis Camporelli. We're also joined tonight by members of our marketing and governance team and also IT as well. No visitors this evening, no press, no apologies from elected members. We have a member of staff apology from Francis Liston, the Director of Governance and Organisational Strategy. We have a leave of absence that's previously approved to Councillor Wayne Johnson, and I hope he enjoys the footy tonight. Councillors, we also do have Councillor Della on the phone. I will require a motion this evening to permit Councillor Della to be part of tonight's meeting. Moved by Councillor O'Donnell, seconded by Councillor Walker-Dunstan. Is there any dissent to that, councillors? No. Carried 7-0. Yes, we'll provide the address at which Councillor Della is at. Would you like her to do that on the record? Thank you. Councillor Della, just confirming that you're there, and please provide your address.
11 Berry Way in Kalgoorlie. Thank you.
Thank you. It's just to note Councillor Della is unwell and is unable to join us in that occasion. Public access tonight, there is nil, and there's nil public question time, no petitions, deputations and presentations. By the way, welcome Councillor Della. Notations of interest, there are nil tonight. There are no applications for leave of absence, but 7.2 is a procedural motion to suspend section 9.1 of the Standing Orders Local Law 2013. Councillors, this is the piece which requires members of council to rise to speak be suspended for tonight's meeting. Is there a mover of that? Councillor Viskovich, and second Councillor Bodica. No dissent, councillors? No dissent on the phone? Carried 8-0. No urgent business this evening, and item 9 is reports of officers. Item 9.11 is the elected member sitting fee. This obviously was voted at the last council meeting. It returns to council because an absolute majority was not put, or was not received, I should say. We have an officer recommendation, but I believe we may have an alternate recommendation. Is there an alternate recommendation before we proceed? No? Thank you. Councillor O'Donnell, question? Point of clarification. What's your question? Just grab your microphone, please.
Thank you. Is the officer recommendation exactly the same as the one that was brought to council the other night?
No. The officer recommendation, councillors, is for council, or the mover of the recommendation, to insert into point 1 and to point 2 a piece to finalise those two particular recommendations. Deputy Mayor.
Mr Mayor, I'd like to move an alternative to allow the officer's recommendation to still be there in case the alternative is lost.
Sure, well, let's consider your alternative.
The wording will be very, very similar across the board, and it'll be that council endorses the elected members' annual attendance fees for the 2026-2027 financial year as $35,478, which is in line with this year's. Point 2, endorse the mayor allowance for the 26/27 financial year as, I may need some assistance on this one, but I believe it would be $100,391. That's right.
Stand by. for ease of clarification, your figures are the exact same for the 25-26 financial year as what it would be for 26-27.
That is correct.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. I don't think that I've got that figure in here. So the
Mr. CEO, if it helps, I took the highest figure that came out of the SAT resolution and just minus 3.5%.
okay.
If that would be in principle correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Point 3, 4 and 5 would remain the same, but I will announce them for the sake of an alternative, and it endorses that the Deputy Mayor allowance will be at 25% of the Mayor allowance. 4, note that there will be no elected member ICT allowance for the 26-27 financial year, and 5, request the Acting CEO prepare a draft elected member annual attendance fee policy for consideration of Council, with the draft to be presented at or before the September Concept Forum.
Thank you. Councillor O'Donnell, you wish to second? I'll wait for a seconder first. Is there a seconder to the Deputy Mayor's resolution? Councillor House. You have a mover and a seconder. Councillor O'Donnell.
Question? Ask a question?
Sure.
Because this was locked 4-4 last time, and we brought back again, and the same councillor is not here that was here the first time, now the second time, are we able to put a motion that just lay on the table till the next OCM where all councillors are here?
Thank you,
In
Councillor
fairness-
O'Donnell. You would require to move a procedural motion in that instance, if that's what you were indicating.
Yes.
Stand by. Let me
Sorry
just
to
consider
throw a
that.
stone in
Thank
the
you.
work.
I'll revert to the Acting CEO for any haste in requiring an outcome for tonight. Mr. Acting CEO, is there any reason?
Through Mr. Mayor, with a decision of Council regarding the sitting fees, we would be able to then continue to form the budget for further conversation with elected members through June. I'm unaware of when Councillor Johnson is returning and whether he'd be here for the June meeting or not.
From recollection, Councillor Johnson's leave of absence is approved to the 31st of May.
So we could practically we could put this item into the June OCM agenda.
Thank you. So therefore I have a procedural motion as moved by Councillor O'Donnell with the item. We have a mover and a seconder for the item, so the amendment is the alternative is live. You've then cast a procedural motion. Can I just get you to state your procedural motion, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that this item be removed and put back on the next OCM in June. Thank you.
Thank you. Just confirming that, just trying to work through the right wording for you here, is that the item be adjourned to the June Ordinary Council meeting. That's your procedural motion?
Yes, it is. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Bodica. We have a seconder. We have a procedural motion in play. Councillor House, you have a question?
Does a justification need to be provided?
No, but I'd like as much information as possible before considering the procedural motion. If there was a specific reason for doing it tonight, I'd like to know that. As indicated by the Acting CEO, there's no specific need for it to be considered tonight, so therefore I'm allowing the procedural motion. Moved by Councillor O'Donnell, seconded by Councillor Bodica. Councillor O'Donnell, you get to speak to that procedural motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This turned out to be a very important item. Many councillors spoke on it, and it went 50-50 down to the wire. At that time, Councillor Johnson wasn't here. Some items we can just run with while a councillor is not here. We can deal with it. This has come back a second time, and it's been and there's an alternate motion being changed. I believe that in this instance, and because it needs absolute majority, it's not a simple motion, that we do leave it for the OCM in June and give all councillors a chance to have their say. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. The mover is only entitled to speak during a procedural motion, so I'll put the motion as per Councillor O'Donnell's recommendation that the item be moved to the ordinary council meeting on the 16th, 15th of June. Sorry, the next ordinary council meeting. Those in favour of Councillor O'Donnell's motion, please raise your hand.
Yes.
Thank you. Those in favour include Councillor O'Donnell, Councillor Bodica, Councillor Viskovich, Councillor Walker-Dunstan and Councillor Della. Those against the procedural motion, the vote is carried 5-3. Your procedural motion stands and that will be considered at the next ordinary council meeting. Noting also that the alternative recommendation will be put as you've adjourned to the next ordinary council meeting. The Deputy Mayor hasn't spoken on that particular motion at this particular point in time. We'll continue to debate on that when that motion comes. Councillor Viskovich, question?
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there not a male casting vote on items such as this, or is it because it's majority?
When a majority, absolute majority is required, there's no casting vote allowed.
Thank you.
Only for a simple. Thank you. The next item on the agenda this evening, councillors, is item 921, schedule of fees and charges for 26-27. Deputy Mayor, you have an alternative recommendation?
Just an amendment.
Amended recommendation, thank you. Go ahead.
So it's to add a point 8 that council requests the Chief Executive Officer to bring back a review report prior to or by the October 2026 Ordinary Council meeting, specifically addressing the Goldfields Arts Centre Pavilion.
Thank you. So, councillors, the officer recommendation plus an amendment, which is point 8, added by the Deputy Mayor, is for consideration. Is there a seconder? Councillor House, I'll just wait for a seconder before we go to question, because we may not debate if there's no seconder. There is a seconder in Councillor Viskovich. Thank you. Councillor House, your question?
I sent through some questions this evening, and I appreciate that it was late. Can I rattle through those questions now? And did the officers have a chance to consider those questions before the meeting?
Thank you. I haven't seen those questions, so I can't probably give you any indication. Mr. Acting CEO, Councillor House has sent through some questions. Do you have any answers to those questions at this point? Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Acting CEO. We'll get those answered for you, Councillor House.
Thank you. And we did receive them very late this afternoon, but we have managed to put some brief answers together. And I acknowledge that you only received the agenda yesterday evening as well. So the questions were, why does the document say minimum rates can't apply to more than 50% of properties when the Act says they must apply to at least 50%? So this is where there's a little bit of confusion between Section 635.3 and 635.4 of the Local Government Act. So this relates to 635.4 and also Financial Management Regulation 52, which specifies 50% is the figure for no more than 50% of the total number of properties within each rating category must not reach the minimum.
Sorry, Mr. Acting CEO, can I just get some clarification that the questions relating to fees and charges are addressed with this item and the questions relating to rates are addressed at the next item to avoid confusion for the elected members? Thank you.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
And I don't think any of these relate to fees and charges.
Okay, no worries. Thank you. So if those questions relate to rates, I'll hold those off until we get that explanation at the next particular piece.
I do have one that relates to the fees and charges, if you don't mind. It's essentially the question is, how has council determined what those charges are if we haven't seen the budgets for 26-27 that specify how much we'll be spending and needing to spend to deliver those services?
Mr. Acting CEO.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. At this stage, officers have looked at each of the fees and charges based on their current value and then indicated whether there needed to be an increase, whether they were stabilised at existing rates, and I think some might have even been reduced. So what we've indicated within the recommendation is that there needs to be a complete review of fees and charges, starting from a $0 base, and to then calculate what the actual cost recovery amount required for each service or program that the city delivers, and then allow council in the 27-28 budget the opportunity to review those and to look at what level of cost recovery is deemed to be appropriate for each of those fees and charges. So at this stage, we have not provided elected members with detailed breakdown of how these fees and charges have been calculated, because in a lot of cases they are historic, they've been in place for many years, they are market tested for things like recreation facilities, etc. Our staff look at what other local governments are charging to make sure that we're still in a relative field and not necessarily the highest nor the lowest. But in my mind, there does need to be more work over this important fees and charges piece, which we've indicated we would do over the next 9 months.
Thank you, Mr Acting CEO. We have a mover of the alternative. Deputy Mayor, go ahead. Sorry, amended.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, I broadly support the schedule of fees and charges because I recognise that these are not random figures, but rather a necessary part of maintaining the city's financial sustainability and service delivery capacity. As outlined in the report, fees and charges operate alongside rates and other revenues to ensure we can continue to deliver services and maintain our infrastructure as required. I acknowledge there has been considerable effort to minimise the impacts on residents, focus towards commercial areas, and retain flexibility through concessions and CEO discretions where appropriate. However, I do have a concern, and it's not about the adoption of the schedule tonight. It's about the visibility and understanding after implementation. We are introducing a range of new or adjusted fees, and while there may be justification for these on paper, we currently do not have a clear mechanism to assess their real-world impact, understand behaviour or financial consequences, or determine whether they are achieving their intended outcomes. This applies in particular to the Golfwoods Arts Centre Pavilion. What is being requested through this amendment is not about delaying or undermining the schedule. It is about good governance and evidence-based decision-making. It allows us to proceed tonight with confidence while ensuring we revisit outcomes and adjust if necessary down the track and in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Viskovich wish to speak? No? Any councillors wish to speak? No? Before I close debate for you, Deputy Mayor, I'll support your amended recommendation with that particular point. I think that's a good, valid point for our fees and charges. The other one that I would like to highlight is point 5, which is to understand that clubs and associations within their current season may be invoked with fees that they weren't originally budgeted for. So that has been something that we've picked up. School years have also been picked up, or school terms have also been picked up previously as to how that works, and I just wanted to highlight that particular fact. And the other one, as the acting CEO said, is a bit of a review, a comprehensive review, not a bit of a review, it's a comprehensive review of how the city goes about that. And that's to understand that we are setting those fees and charges appropriate for our community. The fees and charges at an increase of 5.8% across the rest of local government is near on an average for regional local governments. Deputy Mayor, you have the opportunity to close debate. No? As the motion has been debated, I will put that to a vote. Those in favour of the amended recommendation, please raise your hand. Or on the phone? Yes. Carried unanimous, 8-0. Item 9.22, Notice of Intention to Levy Differential Rates 26-27, noting that we have some questions sent through from Councillor House. This is your time to shine, Mr Acting CEO, with those answers. Over to you.
Back on track, Mr Mayor. Sorry about that. Okay, so Councillor House sent through 5 questions. So the first one, I'll repeat. Why does the document, this is the statement of objectives, why does the document say minimums can't apply to more than 50% of properties when the Act says they must apply to at least 50%? So Local Government Act 635(3) is a different proposition about minimums. So the Financial Management Regs number 52 and the Local Government Act 635 subsection 4 dictates that 50% is the figure for no more than 50% of the total number of properties within that specific rating category can have the minimum rate. Second question was, how can we vote on rates when we haven't seen the budget they're supposed to fund? Officers are producing a balanced budget, including anticipated rates revenue that will be received in accordance with the recommended rate increases. A decision is required on differential rates at this time to meet legislated timeframes. Question 3, the document tells ratepayers what they'll pay, but it does not what it adds up to. What's the total shortfall and what's the dollar yield from each category? So proposed rate yields using the recommended increases have been previously provided to elected members at a budget workshop in total, but the spreadsheet that we've provided in front of you will give you the proposed rate yields for each rating category and the number of properties affected. Number 4, given that Airbnb is not a formal land use definition, why is it specifically identified and what is the justification for applying the lower industrial rate rather than the accommodation rate? So Airbnb is not listed as a formal land use definition, it's simply used as an example of uses under the gross rental value commercial/industrial category on pages 66 and 67 of the agenda attachment. And number 5, the question is, how has the council reviewed its expenditure and considered efficiency measures as part of its budget deliberations? My answer is it's the administration's responsibility to prepare the budget, and the city has and continues to look for efficiency measures across the budget. Council will ultimately consider the draft budget in its entirety before determining its adoption. So councillors will have that opportunity to look for those and to dictate further efficiencies if that's required.
Thank you, Mr. Acting CEO. Is there a mover for the recommendation? Moved Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Viskovich. Deputy Mayor, you wish to speak? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillors, this is one of the more important decisions we make as a council because it goes directly to how we fund the city and our community supports. Rates are not just a discretionary revenue stream, they're a mechanism that funds the gap between total costs and all other income sources, including fees, charges and grants. So this decision is fundamentally about balance between affordability and sustainability and between service expectations and financial capacity. Nobody likes rates, but it's important to recognise that this proposed model, it's important to recognise what this proposed model is doing. It keeps residential rates at the lowest differential level possible. It places a higher contribution on commercial, accommodation and mining sectors, and it reflects the reality that those sectors place greater demand on roads, compliance and infrastructure. This is also not about penalising sectors. It is about allocating fair costs in a way that reflect impact and use. We also need to recognise that failing to adopt a sustainable revenue position does not avoid costs. It simply defers them, and often at a higher, longer-term price through preventable asset failure or service reduction. What is being proposed tonight is to set a maximum level that rates can be charged at, not what the final figure will be. That will be debated at another time following public advertising and the finalisation of the budget. It is for those reasons, councillors, that I lean more towards supporting this recommendation tonight and would encourage you to do the same.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Viskovich, wish to speak? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I second everything that Deputy Mayor's just also said. While no one likes an increase, I think it's important to recognise what our community receives in return. We have an incredibly clean and well-presented city, and in recent times I have had visitors tell me Kalgoorlie-Boulder is one of the cleanest regional towns they have visited. Like every community, there are still some areas where ongoing antisocial behaviour and littering remain challenges, and we know there's still work to do. At the same time, we continue to provide amazing free events for our community while working towards upgrading and enhancing facilities that are long overdue for investment. As mentioned by Deputy Mayor, this rate is the maximum level and not necessarily what will be brought into place. And I hope all around the table agree with this recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Viskovich. Speaker against? Councillor House?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to speak against this motion tonight for the reason that I'm not satisfied with the information that I've been provided. I'm not confident that the information is informing my decision that says I support an increase in the rates above and beyond what is set at a local government CPI level. I recognise there is a need to move with the CPI index, and I recognise that rates aren't something that people want to pay. But we do need to increase because costs increase and escalate. So when we go to the community, I have to have confidence in myself that when I say to the punters on the street, to their question, why has the rates gone up? I have to be able to say it's because you're getting these good things. These additional things you're going to get because our rates are going up. or I'm able to explain to them we're doing these additional things to make our services better. That's why I'm going to speak against this. I'm not going to speak against, and I'm not going to be so so naive to say that there's a zero rate increase. That's naive. But what I'm going to say is that if we're going to put up a number, we have to stand beside it, and we have to stand and back that number in. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor House. Speaker 4, Councillor O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If we don't have this rate increase and we keep it down lower, cancel the sound shells, concerts, the free ones. We're not bringing those people here, paying money. We can save money there. There's other things. We'll put the prices up at the Oasis, just across the board to make up. Because if we drop the rates from what it is right at the moment, what we're voting on, something's got to give. You've got to take something out. You can't drop the rates and say everything's honky-dory and we keep going. From my memory, we're organising money for a fund as well, part of that. I think it's the Asset Management Fund. I could be wrong on that, but we were going to put some money aside, set some money aside.
That's to do with the budget. This is to do with the differential rates and the notice on the rates being the figures.
I was just going off a broad thing. If the rates aren't gone up, then we have to find money elsewhere to compensate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Speaker against? Speaker 4? With no further speakers indicated tonight, I will speak before handing back to the Deputy Mayor. As already mentioned tonight, rates are unfortunately part of the way that Council collects our revenue. We need to look at the minimisation of that on our residents. The 6% increase that we're aiming for residents, as identified from the Deputy Mayor, can be reduced. This is a notice to advertise. So what it goes out to advertising is the absolute maximum that we could put to anything. It can be reduced during that process. Noting the 12% increase to mining and GRV accommodation. That is obviously, as identified, users of key infrastructure within our city on a very daily basis, whether that be our wastewater treatment plant, whether that be our roads, whether that be our footpaths, whether it be key services that we provide, such as the library. We have people who come to our city who are never included in census, who are never included in figures, who use our facility and get off scot-free. I'll support the Deputy Mayor's recommendation, also noting that it's not only just local governments. Apologies for using my phone here, my email's not working, but our services and our community relies on our services every single day, and we need to plan for those into the future and planning ahead so we don't get those higher costs down the track. It's not just about what those rates deliver, it's for our future generations at the same time and for forming up our budget too. So I empathise with our community being put into a position where rates are included. It is part and parcel of local government. How we do it in a better way moving forward is obviously identified under point 3, which is the rating strategy. Over to you. Just before I do close that debate, again recommending the Deputy Mayor. However, the Deputy Mayor's motion, noting that many other local governments across regional Western Australia are also about the same position as what we are at this point in time on their residential rates. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to acknowledge Councillor House's raised concerns tonight and thank you for sharing them. However, it is important to note that tonight is not about setting what that rate will be. It is about setting a maximum limit to allow city officers to continue with budget development. I too still hold questions, as I'm sure many of us around the table do, as we advance through our budget discussions and hope further savings can be made to reduce that final rates figure when it comes to finalising it, but not at the expense of services to our community. Services which continue to grow in range and need and continue to be even more critical as we face some of the external challenges that we do as a community and as a nation. So, councillors, I hope you support this tonight and continue to work with officers as we go through the finalisation of the budget process, and I remain hopeful that we'll continue to deliver some fantastic services for our community as a result. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. As we have had dissent to the decision, councillors, I will put it to a vote. Those in favour of the Deputy Mayor's recommendation, please raise your hand. That is Councillor Viskovich, Councillor O'Donnell, Councillor Bodica, Deputy Mayor Winner, Councillor Della and Mayor Wilson. Those against? Councillor House and Councillor Walker-Dunstan. The vote is carried. 6-2. No, Councillor House. And that closes our meeting with the items considered on our agenda at 6:30 p.m. Councillors, thank you. I know it's been a big couple of days to spend some time together. I appreciate that. Enjoy some time with your families over the long weekend, and if you're travelling, travel safe.